Joining us now to discuss the desperate need for dialogue and the state of speech today are two of America's most prominent public intellectuals who, despite sharp differences in politics, philosophy, and worldviews, have modeled friendship deeply rooted in mutual respect. Dr. Cornel West is a philosopher, activist, and theologian who is the Dietrich Bonhoeffer Professor of Philosophy and Christian Practice at Union Theological Seminary. Dr. Robert George is a Catholic legal scholar at Princeton University. They are on tour now for the release of their new book, Truth Matters, a dialogue on fruitful disagreement in the age of division. Gentlemen, thank you both so much for joining me. You both have been leading American voices for decades now. How would you assess the state of division in our United States today in the year of our Lord 2025? Dr. West, I'll begin with you.
Well, I first want to thank you so very much for having us on your show. And it's always a blessing and a joy for me to be with my very, very dear brother who I have such deep love and respect for. I think the most important thing in any kind of discussion of the polarization in our society is to try by example to overcome that polarization. We can analyze it over and over and over again. We know there's too much hatred, there's too much greed, there's too much envy, there's too much resentment. That's who we are as human beings. We've got to be examples of not just building bridges, but staying in contact with the humanity of others.
Dr. George,
Amen.
What's your take on this temperature right now?
The temperature is very, very hot. Now it's manifesting itself in acts of political violence, ideologically motivated violence. The assassination, of course, of Charlie Kirk has absolutely scandalized and outraged the entire nation. So we've got to turn the temperature down. Now, that doesn't mean that we should pretend that the stakes of politics are anything other than high. They are very high. They're very big, very important issues. Issues on which reasonable people of goodwill disagree. They're high stakes issues. But we can engage each other on high stakes issues without turning the temperature up to the point where we begin to treat each other not as civic friends with whom we happen to disagree, using the normal democratic processes to resolve our disagreements, but as enemies to be defeated and indeed even to be destroyed. And that's where what Brother Cornel just said comes in so importantly. We need role models. We need people who will stand up and be recognized as being willing to enter into fruitful dialogue with people despite their disagreements.
The title of your new book together is Truth Matters. But doesn't that hit on the exact issue at play here? I mean, it seems we cannot even agree on what truth is. Pontius Pilate's famous line, "What is truth?" comes to mind. And if we cannot agree on truth, how can we even have a starting point for a conversation?
Well, I think the first move is to put an accent on humility.
Yeah.
And humility means that no one of us have a monopoly of the truth, that we're concerned with generating bonds of trust and ties of empathy and respect so that we can pursue truth together. So we shouldn't conflate truth itself and the way to truth. And we cracked vessels that we are as human beings, especially as Christians, trying to love our crooked neighbors with our crooked hearts, that we know we're going to fall short, but we have to have enough respect, enough care for each other, and enough concern for each other that we pursue together. But there's going to be disagreements no matter what.
I think it's critically important that we do agree that there is a truth out there to be sought, and that it's better to be in touch with reality and living in line with truth rather than living with lies or living with illusions, however pleasant or self-affirming those lies and illusions might be. So we need people who will join together across the lines of philosophical, theological, political difference in union on the question of the importance of pursuing truth. And how do we pursue truth? How do we frail, fallen, fallible human beings pursue truth? Well, it's what Cornel just said, with humility. That is, knowing that we don't possess it fully, we'll always fall somewhat short of the mark. We're never going to have it perfectly. But the best way we can make progress toward the truth is allowing ourselves to be challenged by others we respect but with whom we disagree. taking into account their criticism, their thoughts, their ideas, their objections, their exceptions, and seeing if we can learn. But that means engaging each other in a truth-seeking spirit. That is, engaging each other, not just wanting to preach, but wanting to learn something from the other guy.
You both are active on social media, but how do you think about the role of social media in deepening our divisions and keeping us in our echo chambers? I mean, is it worth being online right now?
Well, I just believe that's very important to bear witness in whatever context you find yourself. And I'm old enough I could bear witness on the transistor radio. I can bear witness on the cell phone. I can bear witness on the internet, but it's the same witness. It's the same quest for truth. It's the same attempt to love my neighbor and my enemy. It's the same attempt to pursue justice. It's the same attempt to be caring and concerned about other people's plight and predicament. So that I understand technology shifts, but there's issues of character that we ought to be consistent.
Exactly right. Social media, Catherine, is not going to go away. We can pretend it's not there. We can refuse to be involved with it. We can try to keep our distance from it, but it's not going to go away. I think it's important for people of goodwill who are willing to engage others in a respectful dialogue despite deep disagreements to be present on social media, to set an example for other people, to model the kinds of attitudes that and virtues, really, model the virtues that need to be in place if we as a people are to survive our current very extreme polarization and division.
Turning Point USA has resumed Charlie Kirk's college tour this week after his shocking assassination on a campus while engaging and debating with students. Are hosting debates on college campuses still worth the security risk? Your thoughts on this?
I think so. I think we all take risks. We have to be adventurous in our attempt to be forces for good or forces for the kingdom of God. But you just hope and pray that people are willing to engage in respectful dialogue. But I do want to accent, though, the tremendous courage and Christian witness of Sister Erica Kirk. This is a very crucial moment. Love, the highest form of love is forgiveness, be able to love thy neighbor and even thy enemy, and to enact it on an international stage so you push back the forces of hate and greed and ugliness. This is something that's worth lingering on because we need that kind of courage and spirit of love.
The threats are a reality. Cornel and I have both experienced them. He has plenty of experience with death threats. An individual pro-abortion activist went to jail for 3 years for threatening and plotting to kill me. But we just learn to not be deterred by that. You just have to step forward and bear witness. Some risk comes with that. Just place our trust in the hands of God and move forward. We cannot let people intimidate us into withdrawing from the public square.
I'm so grateful for both of you for your courage on that front. You two are models for forming friendship amid ideological differences. Can we dig into some of the practicals of how to do that? So say you're at the dinner table with an acquaintance who's on the opposite side of the political spectrum. Do you just dive right into the hot topics or do you avoid at all costs? Give us some practicals here.
I think she wants to know that acquaintance, of course, might be grandma, might be your sister, might not just be some distant acquaintance.
No, maybe somebody I've never met. I just ask them how their mama and daddy are doing, if they're alive. I hope so, or how their friend, their loved ones are doing. But you want to make that human connection before you get into politics. That's the crucial thing.
You both already mentioned virtue of humility. Can you expand on that? And what other virtues are required for individuals to grow in unity and dialogue? What are those? What do we need right now?
Well, the virtue of humility in intellectual life really comes down to acknowledging, not merely notionally, like you're checking the right box on an SAT, but truly acknowledging existentially our own fallibility, one's own fallibility. That is recognizing, Catherine, that we can be wrong, and in some cases undoubtedly are wrong. Not only about the minor, relatively superficial things of life, the things we don't really care all that much about, but even on the big, important questions of life, the things we really care about, our beliefs about human nature, the human good, human dignity, human rights, human destiny, recognizing our fallibility, and therefore recognizing that maybe we do have something to learn from somebody who has a different perspective, even a radically different perspective. Even if that person's view initially scandalizes us, let's engage and see if there's something to learn from the person on the other side. We all have the experience, Catherine, of changing our minds about things, right? Most of us have the experience of changing our minds on some pretty big things, some pretty important things. Well, if we're willing to change our minds under the pressure of rational persuasions, reasons, arguments, evidence, we're going to be better off as persons, and our society is going to be much, much better off. If we dig in, if we become dogmatists and ideologues, well, then pretty soon it's just war. It's just tribalism, and that sooner or later generates violence, and we're seeing it now.
Any final thought on that note, Dr. West?
No, I think that Brother Robbie is hitting the nail on the head. I think in the end, especially as Christians, that we are called to be in the world and not of it. I think of the grand example of St. Francis of Assisi, for example. How do we incorporate that spirit of mustering the courage to love, to serve, to try to enable others, and to empty ourselves in such a way that we leave the world just a little bit better than we found.
No, we ourselves do have role models. We in the Catholic tradition, of course, have our saints, but there are heroes, across the board. Who do you find inspiring? Fannie Lou Hamer, right? People like that. Dorothy Day, St. John Paul, Pope John Paul II. These are people who've modeled for us the virtues that it's important for us to acquire. So we can draw on the inspiration we have from them. Yeah. We can try to enact what we have seen them enact.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way forward.
Well, I'm so grateful for your model of friendship and your witness. I pray this helps bring healing to us that is much needed. Dr. West, Dr. George, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
We thank you, dear sister. God bless you.
Thank you.